Welcome back to a new Lead with Confidence podcast. I'm your host, JP Warren. Last week, we discussed kind of the weight of leadership and what that actually means to a lot of people. Leadership is often heavy. What does that mean? That means we handle and carry a lot of tasks as a leader, and oftentimes we internalize that. So the whole goal of today is to kind of dive in a little bit more on what the weight of leadership looks like, share some personal stories, give you some strategies, and also some potential reflective prompts to determine where you're carrying too much. And oftentimes, I'm talking to a lot of different leaders from a lot of different industries, and there's common themes that pop up. It's taking on too much. It's not delegating things. It's coming home and not being present for your family and your friends. So we're going to dive into some strategies on actually how to navigate this. A personal story on my side is that, when I've been building these businesses for about 4 years, all right? And oftentimes it becomes overwhelming. It feels very isolated, very overwhelming. I'm often face new challenges I never had to face with before. So a lot of times I'm kind of faced with this overwhelming pressure, this big burden ball of problems and challenges that I see before me, and sometimes it comes too much. And so what does that mean? One time I remember, it's not even one time, I think throughout the last 4 years, whenever I have a new idea or a new strategy to go with on my businesses, I often kind of have this idea. And not only that, so I want to move forward with all these ideas or these new strategies, or maybe how to kind of like clarify the message and all that. However, there's all these continuing administrative tasks that I have to do. So I have these new ideas, I have these new direction I want to go, but oftentimes I'm anchored to all these different current challenges that I have and current problems that I have. A lot of people do. So I like kind of going back and thinking, what do I got to do? So I have Crew Club. Crew Club, I'm herding cats pretty much with a lot of operators around a table. With my Connection Crew company, which is kind of building and developing people. Connection Crew, which is the goal is to actually build people up and actually gain confidence in their communication skills and how they communicate, how they deliver, how they influence, how they show up for themselves. Oftentimes, I was dealing with Kids Crew too, which is organizing pretty much these companies to come in and host these STEM stations for these kids. So there's a lot of different things, right? And I don't have a lot of resources I can draw on. So what happened was I would take all these challenges on myself, I would internalize them, then I'd show up not my best for my family. Not only that, the other projects that I'd have going on that were already going on, I would start taking away effort and energy towards those projects. And so those weren't actually kind of coming to fruition the way I envisioned. So a lot of times it's a lot of self-sabotage and a lot of me kind of putting the responsibility, direction on myself. And again, not only would that impede me from reaching these new ideas, these new directions I want to go, but also hold me back on kind of the current business that I have and not kind of seeing and showing my energy and effort for that. So what do I do? So what can we do actually when we're faced with all these different challenges, responsibilities, roles? We have to show up for our team. We have to show up for our family. We have all these decisions that we have to internalize. However, what do we do to show up the best way possible? How do we carry and distribute this weight where we're actually kind of being more productive than actually self-sabotage and a lot of stuff that we do, which is very normal for a lot of leaders to do, especially business owners. A lot of business owners will self-sabotage, and a lot of people out there self-sabotage as well. We think that, oh, well, I need to do this, I want to do this, but this stuff in my life isn't in order yet, or I'll do this once I have the resources, I'll do this once I have the time. We stop taking action on the things that are going to propel us forward, and we hold ourselves back internally. So here's some strategies that kind of we can go over. And I think one quote I love is, we had this at a Crew Club roundtable in Denver where Jason Churchill delivered this quote. He kicked it off by saying, hey, you can either have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. Think about that. You can control how things are going or you can grow, but you can't have both. So in order to grow, you have to relinquish some control. You have to delegate some tasks, you have to delegate some responsibilities. So the first strategy that you can do is actually find out how to delegate, what you can actually delegate. Delegate with some intention, right? So what does that look like? So a lot of times, I remember when I first started, again, because of my lack of knowledge or my lack of knowledge on how to delegate, I would just say, hey, look, I need this done, go do it. And oftentimes I'd have to do double work or triple work to fix the problem because I wasn't clear in my communications. I wasn't clear on what I needed to be done or even how I wanted it done. I mean, a lot of times I would just give a blank direction, kind of like a lot of salespeople do in the leadership positions, like, go sell, go do this, go do that. But there's not a lot of direction, not a lot of strategy, not a lot of input on actually how to solve that. So one thing you can do is actually look at the tasks at hand, right? Start jotting down the tasks at hand and think about what you can delegate, what you can offload off of your plate so you can actually focus on the business and not working into business. And so how do you do that? To delegate, you just don't offload the big chunks off to people. Do this, this is how I want it done. It starts off with these little small bite-sized trust bites, right? So start offloading small tasks at first to people, right? I don't know why I keep saying right. I'm just kind of spitballing here. Start offloading these small tasks to people in your circle, right? On your team to start handling this, to start delegating. Try to see if they can get this done. Once they start kind of taking on these tasks by themselves, you can offload more tasks on them. That way you can be focused on what you have to get done, not everything that everyone else should be getting done. So number one, think about what you can offload. Start delegating small tasks. I don't care if that's emails, reminders, setting something up, something that you can offload your time where you're not so bogged down with your challenges. So number one, delegate with intention, okay? All right, the second thing that you can do whenever things start piling up, where the weight starts getting a little bit too much, and this happens to me a lot. I remember, and this is actually a recent example, I don't know if this is really kind of in line with this, but I was put in an uncomfortable situation recently that I put myself in. I mean, I looked at this as an opportunity to grow. I looked at it as an opportunity to challenge myself and face my fears and be uncomfortable. That was when I recently competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament. And now I'm a white belt, and now I'm not saying I'm good at all, but I realized that this is going to be a growth opportunity for me because number one, I'm uncomfortable. Number two, I'm scared shitless to do this. And number three, I don't even know what I'm doing that well. I'm not that confident in this. But the only way to grow confidence is to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and accept the outcome, regardless what it is. Putting yourself in that situation. So when I was there, I started realizing this is a lot. This was very heavy for me. This was too exciting for me. And I started my heart rate started racing and I started panicking. This often happens too with a lot of leaders when we are kind of faced with a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles and all this stuff. It starts getting heavy and it starts kind of having an internal physical response to us. You know, we start kind of taking more on, we start getting more tense, we start breathing a little bit lighter. So one thing that you can do is be mindful of this. So start breath work. So before I stepped on the mat, I felt my heart rate start really racing and start panicking. I started doubting myself. In my mind, I was like, okay, well, I'm here. I know these people that I'm going against, but I still can't do this. What I started doing breath work. I don't know if everyone's out there is familiar with the box breathing technique, but whenever you are faced with high stressful situations, even if they're immediate situations, like you're about to give a public presentation or you're about to present to the board, you're about to go in for a job interview, slowing down and calming and taking control of your breath in a box breathing motion slows things down and calms you down. I started doing this before I stepped on the mat. And that anxiety started dissipating. So I was able to have much more composure before I stepped on that mat. So whenever you are faced with these big challenging situations, something might not go right, you might get this news that kind of throws you off and all that stuff. It's easy to get physical reaction because that's what our bodies do. Practice something called box breathing. And box breathing is really, think about a box, okay? 4 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds. So this box is made of 4 seconds, okay? Breathe in for 4 seconds here. Hold for 4 seconds. Release for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Do this a couple of times. If you are intentional about your deep breathing techniques, it's going to release more oxygen to your blood, it's going to calm your heart rate down, and it's going to calm your nerves. So again, high stressful situations, it's okay to be stressed. Stress often drives us to do things. Stress is natural, part of building a business or leading a team or navigating your career. Stress is normal. However, don't let it create some negative physical reactions in you. So one way to do this, be mindful. Understand the stress that you're taking on, accept the stress you're taking on, but practice mindfulness and box breathing, all right? That often, again, reduces the anxiety and lets you focus on the task a lot more clear focused, okay? Another thing that you can do, and this is what we're doing, and kind of this, I didn't mean to do this, but this is a nice little segue anyway, but another thing that you can do is think about some circles you can surround yourself with. Think about some people that you can kind of share and offload your struggles and your anxiety and your challenges that you're faced with. I've often find this, that sometimes like my previous circle of friends, they're still there and I can still talk to them and hang out with them, and shoot the bull with them. However, whenever I am faced with challenges such as building a business or strategies or where do I grow? Do I maintain this? Where do I put my time, energy, and effort? A lot of times I have to reach out to new people that have been in my shoes before, people that understand the journey, understand the process, maybe people that are a little bit ahead of me in this path, or maybe people that have done this through years. So again, seeking out intentionally aspirational circles is extremely important. They might have been in your shoes before. They might have insight that you didn't even think about before. So again, finding people and realizing you're not doing this all alone. Just because you're doing this all alone, on paper, doesn't mean that you have to be all alone whenever you're pursuing building your dream. All right. So again, bring people around, surround yourself with people that you can aspire to be, and also that you can use as soundboards. Be intentional about your circles. One thing that we're doing for men is we have Exec Crew, which is a men's leadership growth and support group. And this is just guys that are kind of building their businesses, and we have people, various ranges in their business, different services, different industries. They're all coming together and we're all sharing our experiences, our vulnerabilities. We have one person delivering a pitch deck to us, kind of saying, hey, what are your feedback on this? What are your thoughts on this? What's my approach? How can I change? That type of support, that type of just the group of people in your circles can often lead you to be inspired and actually move forward versus holding yourself back and actually not taking action. Another thing that we're about to launch is called Lead with Confidence, and that's going to be a school community where we're going to be giving people the skill sets to lead their careers, to navigate their careers, take more control of their careers and their trajectory with confidence building sets such as crucial conversations, negotiating, building your network to work, describing your true value. So again, surround yourself with people that want to do better, that have been in your shoes before, that you can always lean on. All right. Another thing that you can do is set some boundaries for yourself. We talked about this in the last podcast. Set some healthy boundaries for yourself. That way you're not always swallowed up with work or things that you have to do. I often find that a lot of times that, if I have 5 things on my plate that I need to take care of, I'll handle those 5. But you know what else I'll do? I'll start doing 6, 7, and 8. I'll start getting off the weeds with 1A, 2B, 3A. Set boundaries for yourself. If you set 3 to 5 things to do that day, be done with that, and then take time to do something that you enjoy, a release, whether that's, for me, jujitsu, or spending time with my family, or playing video games. For you, that could be something like golf, or something spending time with your family, or something to kind of decompress and unwind. But again, setting healthy boundaries. Maybe you don't use your phone after 5 o'clock on Fridays. Maybe you decide, hey, listen, we're gonna do family dinners every Sunday or something like that. But set boundaries for you when you actually separate yourself from work and you're not always on call or a slave to your phone. Again, I put my phone on do not disturb, and I do that intentionally for a reason. Sure, people get upset that they can't reach out and get in touch with me immediately, but at the same time is, sometimes I don't want to get in touch with them immediately. Sometimes I'm focused on spending time with family. Sometimes I'm focused on finishing this project or attacking these goals. So again, set some boundaries for you, and it's okay for you to have these boundaries and to communicate these boundaries to people. This is for your mental health, all right? So you can offload the weight of leadership. So let's give you some 4 prompts that you can use to reflect on what you can do differently today as you carry this weight of leadership, as you're building your company or leading a team. All right. So number 1, let's think about this. What responsibility or task can you offload? What are you carrying? What task that's on your plate that you can probably delegate to someone, right? So what's something that's kind of eating your time, or something maybe that you just don't feel that you can release the reins on, because if someone else does it, it's not going to be to your expectation, all that stuff. It's okay. Remember, you can't grow and control things at the same time. What's one task that you can offload off of your plate and maybe pass on to someone else, or maybe even automate it? This day, there's so much AI and automation tools out there where you can offload stuff where you don't have to. Maybe you take 30 minutes and find out what tools would be more beneficial for you to automate, so that way you don't have to be doing that. For me, it's a lot of reminders on roundtables. It's a lot of invites or emails that I send out. What can you delegate today to offload your plate? Again, start small. delegate small, build up that trust so you can offload bigger projects down the road. All right. So number 2, we just talked about this. Where do you need a boundary? Where do you need a boundary? Where are you not showing up where you should be showing up? Is this something where you have your spouse talking to you about like, hey, you're always on your phone, you're always checking emails, you're always working? What boundary can you set up to give yourself a little bit more of a work-life balance, whatever you want to call it, where you're not just consumed with work all the time, and that time when you're meeting with your families is so blurred. Again, being intentional about your time, being intentional about your presence when you show up for your team or for your family is extremely important as you as a leader and as a person, all right? And number 3, let's identify who in your life that you could offload this to. Let's talk about who in your life that maybe you could offload and delegate these things to. Start thinking about maybe teammates, maybe family members, maybe something like that you can offload something to. Maybe that's going to the grocery store. You can ask your spouse, hey, listen, this week, do you mind doing this? We have a lot of stuff going on. So who can you really offload to? Who can you delegate to? And again, when you are delegating these tasks and all this stuff, be clear about your expectations and your goals, but also allow room for them to kind of complete the task on their own way. A lot of times I find that I have a certain way to do things, right? It's my way, I know my way, it's my business and all that stuff. However, once I start delegating things, people sometimes come back with a much more innovative approach on how kind of things are historically done. So oftentimes, maybe the new way to do things is a better way, but it's not my way, and that's okay. So being okay with relinquishing a little bit of control, all right? And the 4th thing we can do is, okay, yeah, so think about this. If you were to build your support circle, right? If you were to build this aspirational support group that you can lean on and talk to and maybe bounce ideas off of, who would be in that circle? Take maybe today, maybe this week, set up some calls, maybe shoot a note and all that stuff. So who do you need to reach out to start building your circles? And again, that's just saying, hey, Jim, I noticed that, I'm kind of faced these challenges and all that stuff. I was just seeing if I can just kind of pick your brain and kind of talk to you about what I'm kind of faced with, what I'm dealing with right now. You might have similar experiences, and just be vulnerable. Open up and talk to that person. You might gain some insight that you never had before without the power of vulnerability. Again, on Lead with Confidence, we always think there's power in vulnerability, and that's something that you can do. All right? And then number 5, what can you do to be present? What can you do to be present with your family? What can you do to be present for your team? What can you do when you come home? Do you have a ritual to kind of separate yourself from work to get home? What can you do to help you show up more present if it's for your team? Maybe that's not having your phone on you. Maybe that's putting your phone in the other room. During meetings, maybe that's being attentive, sitting up in your chair. What can you do to showcase that you're present there for you, for your family, for your team? All right? So again, listen. At Lead with Confidence, the whole goal is to give skill sets and give you the belief and the confidence for you to take on uncomfortable situations, things that challenge you, things that allow you to grow personally and professionally, not just at home with your family, but also throughout your careers, okay? The weight of leadership is a real thing. We often get bogged down with a lot of tasks, what to do, where to go, what I need to focus on, and sometimes it becomes overwhelming. All right, there's power in vulnerability. So reach out, find out what you can delegate, reach out to circles. Who in your circles can you bounce ideas off and learn from? All right, how can you show up present? Do practice where you actually show up and be present for your family. So the weight of leadership is a real thing. Reach out, build yourself up, and understand this, you aren't alone. Be sure to check out Lead with Confidence on the school community. We're launching that in November to provide people, I think we're doing twice a month calls, Q&A. We're doing prompts, journaling prompts, reflective exercises, a lot of in-depth practice to give you the skill sets to have confidence so you can navigate your career and take control. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in out there. Again, if you're a man in leadership, check out Exec Crew, the men's leadership group. And if you're out there just looking to gain confidence in your career path and you're I'm focused more on the human interaction over AI. So again, if you want HI over AI, check out Lead with Confidence. That's going to be launching in November. So again, Tune into this. Thank you for tuning in. I hate wrapping these things up. Maybe that's a skill I need to learn, how to wrap up my own podcast. But thank you all, and we'll see you soon on Lead with Confidence.